Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm having some afternoon coffee here. I wanted to start off with this little news article. This is from Michael at VAL 5 Links. It says, meanwhile, China is poised to launch a digital version of its Yuan and could be about to create serious problems for the U.S. banking system, potentially forcing the U.S. to digitalize the dollar to compete. Now, this is the article that was tweeted here. China could force Donald Trump and the Fed to destroy the U.S. banking system. I like this quote right here. It says, now the Federal Reserve has warned central bank digital currencies might one day replace commercial banks, creating a deposit monopolist and playing havoc with the banking system. Because China is doing all this, the introduction of digital currencies may justify a fundamental shift in the architecture of a financial system. A central bank open to all. Federal Reserve of Philadelphia researchers wrote in a 32-page paper titled Central Bank Digital Currency, Central Banking for All, ? It examined the potential effects of giving consumers the possibility of holding a bank account with the central bank directly, something that could potentially replace commercial bank checking accounts. Folks, does my son need to draw you a picture? We've been laying all of this out for 2 years, okay? This right here is insulting. The idea that Donald Trump now remember, what gives the U.S. the power that it has is being the world reserve currency. And from day one, Ripple has been saying that they want to be the U.S. reserve world digital currency. They've told you the truth the whole time. For anyone to think, I want you to think about this for a minute. I'm just going to give you one of the hundreds of examples I could give you. But what we're supposed to believe is that here the U.S. is with this world reserve currency status, that we're just sitting around and we're watching as China just creates this digital currency, and we just can't do anything about it. We're sitting here and we just don't know how we're going to handle this. And we're writing articles and they're writing papers about what are we going to do. Meanwhile, that is a bunch of baloney. The United States has been working on this for 2 decades, according to Powell, the Federal Reserve Chairman. He said it in a video we've shown. This is baloney. That the idea that they are not well ahead on this game. And here's just one example. Ken Kersen, this is just one of the hundreds of things I could show you that make that sound totally ridiculous. So Ken Kersen joins the Ripple board. This is on the Ripple board of directors page. Joins the Ripple board. I believe it was back in 2016. Okay. The same Ken Kersen, this is him in Donald Trump's Oval Office. This is him with Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law, who's one of the senior advisors in the Trump administration. This is him in the box seat. I don't know if it says Cleveland. I'm assuming this is when Trump was running for office. This is him talking to Jared Kushner's wife, Ivanka Trump, sitting right beside her in the booth. And I don't know if that was in Cleveland on a campaign stop or I don't know what the context there is. So anyway, that's just, see, the question is, you think that guy's ever mentioned Ripple to the president with all these articles being written about, oh no, China's coming out with a digital currency and it's going to destroy the entire U.S. banking system, and we just now are getting around to thinking about this. I've got an igloo in South Georgia that is still for sale. It's going to melt probably sooner than 24 hours. But it is a great igloo, and it'll provide you excellent shelter for less than 24 hours. It's for sale I'm going to sell it for a really high price, if you believe that. Okay? Okay, in the course of preparing this video, I realized that Ripple now has a new strategic advisor. His name is Bruce Hemphill, and this is a whole bio on him. The most interesting thing in his bio that I could find is that he was with Standard Bank at one time. And that is the Standard Bank of South Africa. It is a South African financial services group and is Africa's biggest lender by assets. The company's corporate headquarters, Standard Bank Center, is situated in Simmons Street, Johannesburg. So, interesting. That'll be interesting to see what happens with regard to that corridor, right? Okay. Now, this goes under the category of things I thought was very interesting, and I'll show you why. Michael Arrington tweets this out, I believe, yesterday. Now, remember, I met Michael Arrington at Swell. He is Brad Garlinghouse's best friend. He's said it on stage many times. That's how he found out about XRP or whatever, I think. Look at what he tweets. This guy, Monty Metzger is the CEO and founder of LCX, which is that exchange in Liechtenstein. He said he's a stain on the, no, remember, this is not me talking. I'm just reading you what he said. I know nothing about the context of why he's saying this. I just found it amazing that he was saying it. He is a stain on the blockchain industry. I don't know anyone who's done business with him that doesn't hate his guts. The CEO of Binance, CZ Binance, is right to call him a scammer. He's that and worse. He's hurt so many people. Now, I don't know anything about what he's talking about here, but I wanted to show you this. Monty Metzger had tweeted, CZ blocked me. That's why I'm posting a public reply. You're blocked. And then he's got this. CZ says he used the Binance name to scam others. He claims to still have partnerships with Binance when, in fact, our partnership ended long ago. And let me see what else there is here. Monty is a scammer. Beware. It's Friday, and I need to follow more people so that they can comment on my tweets. Who would you recommend? And then we go back. Let's go back. I think. And then this is a picture of CZ Binance, Justin son, and this is Michael Arrington right here. So Michael Arrington tweets this out, and the reason this really jumped out at me is because I remember back, I believe, 2018 and 2019, several pictures. First, Binance opening doors this year in Liechtenstein via LCX. Great kickoff presentation. This is CZ Binance, Michael Arrington, and I think that is the guy they're talking about right there, but it's LCX. So this is when they were working on a deal with them. Now look, deals go bad. Things don't work out the way you hoped for them to. And so CZ Binance is no longer in business with the guy, but I've never ever heard anything about what must have happened here. So I wanted to cover it. And then you've got this. This is from back in August 17th, 2018. This is the Metzger guy, Adrian Hassler, Prime Minister of Liechtenstein, and CZ Binance. And then you had this. This is from Bond Crypt. Ethan Beard was at Ripple headquarters with this Monty Metzger guy. And then we had this at Swell, one of the Swell by Ripple. I don't remember. I'm not sure which year that was, but it's LCX CEO from, this is 2018 Swell. So the guy is at Swell that year. So I'm fascinated by what must be going on with that whole deal. Now I got this video, which is interesting, from XRP Yo-Yo. Paul Daugherty, Chief Technology and Innovation, Accenture, who is a Ripple partner, Tech Vision 2020.
Great experience, whether you're a travel company or a bank or a manufacturing company, whatever you might be. Creating the experience requires data. And to get the data from an individual or another company, it takes trust. So this virtuous circle of experience, data, and trust is something that companies are realizing is essential to their competitive advantage going forward. And we say trust is the currency of the digital and post-digital world that we're moving into.
Right. It's just how explicit is that trust, right? How explicit does it need to be? And as you said, that's unclear. People can complain on one hand but continue to use the services. So it seems to be a little bit
it's a sliding scale. It's really a value exchange. You have to think about it. What's the value exchange and the value that an individual consumer places on their privacy versus free access to a service. That's what's being worked out right now.
Right. So I want to get your take on another thing, which is exponential curves. And you've mentioned time and time again, right? The pace of change is only accelerating. Well, you've been saying that probably for 20 years, right? So the curve's just getting steeper. How do you see that kind of playing out over time? Do we eventually catch up? Is it just presume that this is kind of the new normal, or how is this going to shake out? Because people aren't great at exponential curves. It's just not really in our DNA.
Yeah, I think but I think that's the world we're operating in now, and I think the exponential potential is going to continue. We don't see a slowdown in the exponential growth rates of technology. So artificial intelligence, we're at the early days. Cloud computing, only about 20% enterprise adoption, a lot more to go. New adoptions around the horizon, things like digital central bank digital currencies that we've done some research and announced some work on recently. Quantum computing and quantum cryptography for networking, etc. So the pace of innovation is going to accelerate.
Right.
And the challenge for organizations is rationalizing that and deciding how to incorporate that into their business, change their business, and change the way that they're serving their, that they're leveraging their workforce, and change the way that they're interacting with consumers.
Right.
And that's why what we're trying to address in the vision is provide a little bit of that roadmap into how you digest and adapt. There's also technology foundations of this. We talk about something in Accenture called living systems. Living systems as a new way of looking at the architecture of how you build your technology, because you don't have static systems anymore.
Okay, I just thought that was an interesting video. Accenture is kind of at the forefront of all of this. Also, I found this to be an interesting tweet from Anders Lundberg. This was a question that I asked Greg Kidd. Are we waiting on regulations to be decided or to be announced with regard to XRP? And Greg Kidd said, I don't think so. We have regulations, as a Brad Garlinghouse quote. And then it says, is it some sort of regulatory clarity we're waiting for, or may it be things like liquidity and custody? And he's showing a Bob Way conversation on, I believe that's XRP chat a while back. Bob Way, do you believe mass liquidity, mass adoption of XRP, if only for market making, can be achieved in the current regulatory landscape? Yes, absolutely. I don't see any current hurdles to doing so. And then if we go down here, Mickey B. Fresh replied, we have institutional custody. We need supporting infrastructure for a true institutional custodian ecosystem. PolySign, creating infrastructure and tech to automate new ways to enforce compliance and security to market. New infrastructure is what's top list, the regs integration in. He's got several different PolySign's objective to become a leader, infrastructure support, exchanges is requirement. We'll see what else he has highlighted here. Account ID, Let's see. Providing network managers permissioned access, centralized utility where providers and network managers can share information. I can tell, let me tell you what, I can tell just by the way that Mickey B. Fresh does his highlighting and all, that this guy's like one of those people who is so smart that he's like trapped in his own mind. It's like his mind's racing and he's thinking of all these things and doing. I can just tell the way that he highlights and all that he's very sharp. And what this reminds me of, Mickey B. Fresh, if you're listening, this is my father's mind right here. My dad, when I was younger, would read things and he would highlight them and do this type of marking up of things, and he would like put them in, he would have a box for me where anything he wanted me to read, he would put in a box for me, like in his office, and I would go in there and I would see it. And this is the same thing that he did. And he's like he was a Georgia Tech graduate, very, very smart guy. And he would do this same kind of thing. That's what it reminded me of when I saw this. Okay. Here, Jim Chauncey Kelly, he's one of the HR guys, I believe, at talent acquisition at Ripple. He posted this job posting, and I wanted to bring this to your attention. Staff software engineer. Now, Ripple has they've got an office, or they merged with a company in Iceland. But this is the interesting part. On-demand liquidity. It says this highly strategic product for Ripple is powered by the superior speed, and it says we're looking for a staff engineer for a next generation trading platform team that provides market access to Ripple products. Build an enterprise grade distributed trading platform that provides a real-time access to crypto markets, liquidity sourcing, and aggregation, execution algorithm, modeling, and implementation. This is going to be interesting to see what this is, folks. I mean, and what it has to do with is Ripple. It says Ripple's, this is back in September 2019, continues acquisition streak, expands European operations to Iceland. They bought or merged with acquire hire is what they called it, an Icelandic crypto trading firm, Algrim. And their engineering team, I think, was combined with Ripple people to work on this project. That will be interesting. Now, I wanted to go over with this with people, folks. Okay. All right, we're at almost 45,000 views on the Greg Kidd interview, and I wanted to make a point here. For those of you that aren't aware, and any of you who out there that are listening to me right now that are people that are in private equity or venture capital around the world, if that's your thing, I wanted to make a point here. We are right now, myself and many influencers that I know, we are right now in what I believe to be a crucial time period. I believe now we're about to make the transition into the digital investment world. And I believe that crypto influencers, we've been studying this stuff for years now, and I believe that we're going to be part of helping bridge the gap of knowledge between traditional investors, whether they be angel investors or just the investing world, and whether they're sophisticated or less sophisticated. And I believe we're going to help bridge that knowledge gap and bring those people into this investment world. So listen up if you're any of those venture capitalists or any of those private equity people out there who are trying to talk to those your investors or anything like that. What I did recently is I interviewed Greg Kidd, and the way we did it is the Link2 platform. These guys have been selling these SPVs, and they were selling Ripple SPVs. They do Coinbase. They have some other things. And I've been getting on their investor call and helping them out, get on there and talk to. I did an interview with Greg Kidd, and it's been viewed 45,000 times, folks. Okay. That is called major exposure. And I'm interested, and I know other influencers that are interested in doing more things like that to start to educate those the traditional investors, because they're starting to be interested in this. And right now, my understanding is that it is a very tiny percentage of the investing public that even understands digital assets. Well, we do. We know all about it. We've been living and breathing this. I've been living and breathing it since 2013. I started my channel over 2 years ago, May of 2018, and been doing nothing but making videos about Ripple and XRP and digital assets. And I know a lot of people that have been doing the same. And so this is linked to, and they've been getting in groups of investors together to do these types of calls. And they just now started having some of us come on there. And so my point in saying all this is that it got me thinking. And anybody out there who is doing virtual investor conferences, whether they're about digital assets or, and even better, if you're talking to investors who haven't really discovered this yet, and you're talking to angel investors and people like that, here's my email address right here, digitalassetinvestor2018@gmail. I get tons of emails. I have people sending me stuff all the time, trying to sell me on this or get me to talk about this. I get that all the time, and I ignore most of it. So put something in the title if you want me to see it. Put something in the title about venture capitalist or private equity, so that it captures my attention. That's what I'm interested. I'm interested in. There's all kinds of people that are going to be doing virtual investor calls and all this, especially in the environment we're in. And I'm here, and I've got other people that are here that can help go on and not just help go on and educate the people, but get a lot more exposure than you would get otherwise. And for educating traditional investors on digital assets, this is just a little bit about me and the people that are around me that I could bring to get involved in this kind of stuff. Jointly, over 100,000 plus subscribers, 100,000 plus Twitter followers. I've had right at 24 million views on my channel. So trust me, we can make things interesting. And you can ask the Link2 guys. I've already made it pretty interesting for them. And then I got this from Heo Seiko Carmona. He sent me a couple of things. The first was Charles Hoskinson, who created Cardano. Remember, some days you just have to peacock. And I was like, what is that? And he also sent me this. The private jet market looks set to boom as commercial aviation struggles. Well, and he was telling me maybe this private jet market's going to really boom with crypto as it comes along. I think it is. All right, I wanted to finish with a quote from XRP Crypto Wolf, which I thought was a great one. Become so curious and obsessed with one thing that you forget everything else. Follow it, drink it, dive deep in it, master it. Remarkable results need remarkable actions. I love that quote. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that you need to be so curious and obsessed with whatever it is you're into that you do exactly that. You focus in on nothing but that one thing and become obsessed with it, and you'll become the best. And once you become the best, all the rest will follow. Success, money, all the different things that come with that. That is the key. Again, I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button. Thanks for listening.